chapter 18. And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines, and subdued them, and took Gath and its towns out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab, and the Moabi became servants to David, and brought presents. And David smote Hadarezer, king of Zobah, by Hamath, as he went to establish his dominion at the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots, and 7,000 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen. And David hewed all the chariot horses, but reserved of them for 100 chariots. And when the Arameans of Damascus came to secure Hadarezer, king of Zobah, David smote of the Arameans 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Aram, Damascus, and the Arameans became servants to David, and brought presents. And the Lord gave victory to David, whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadarezer, and brought them to Jerusalem. And from Tibkat and from Kun, cities of Hadarezer, David took very much brass, wherewith Solomon made the brazen sea, and the pillars and the vessels of brass. And when Tou, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the host of Hadarezer, king of Zobah, he sent Hadoram his son to King David, to salute him and bless him, because he had fought against Hadarezer and smitten him. For Hadarezer had wars with Tou, and he had with him all manner of vessels of gold and silver and brass. These also did King David dedicate unto the Lord, with the silver and the gold that he carried away from all the nations, from Edom and from Moab, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek. Moreover, Abishai the son of Zeruiah smote of the Edomites in the valley of Salt 18,000, and he put garrisons in Edom. And all the Edomites became servants to David, and the Lord gave victory to David whithersoever he went. And David reigned over all Israel, and he executed justice and righteousness unto all his people. And Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host. And Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud was recorder. And Zadok the son of Ahitub, and Abimelech the son of Abiathar were priests. And Shashah was scribe. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Kerati and the Peleti. And the sons of David were chief about the king. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. We'll find that God is continuing to establish the king of David, his servant that he has sent, his chosen one. And he has sent, we found out in the last chapter, that Nathan had prophesied that God was going to make David's house, establish David's house for a long period of time. And it becomes part of history, this great work of God. And we're going to continue now from verse 1. And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines, and subdued them, and took Gath and its towns out of the hand of the Philistines. And after this it did come to pass. We'll find out that David is going to go forth and conquer the nations all around. This is what he was sent to do. And David, that chosen one, or that beloved, the one who God has sent, smote the Philistines. And these Philistines are the drifters. We've talked about these Philistines from the beginning, even the time of the judges. They were often brought as down against Israel. And David smote them and subdued them, and took Gath. Gath means the wine press, and it's the place where they're pressed down. It is a similitude of the judgments of God pressing down on the grapes so that they can release the sweet wine, which is the witness that God manages the harvest. And he took from them all the towns out of their hand of the Philistines, these drifters. And these Philistines, well, if we check out, when we get to Genesis, we'll find these Philistines are descendants of Noah. They was in the land, and they are the ones being punished for their sins from long ago, too. And he smote Moab, and the Moabite became servants to David, and brought presents. And these Moab was the son of Lot and his daughter, and it literally means from her father. And the Moabi are those from her father. They became servants unto David. 3. And David smote Hadar-Etzer, king of Zobah, by Hamath, as he went to establish his dominion at the river Euphrates. And David, once again, he is this one whom God has appointed king over Israel. He smote Hadar-Etzer. Hadar-Etzer is it's this splendorous support, or this help, or this that supports, gives support to. And this splendor is an ornament. It's an ornament. This ornament even of support. He would be the king of Zobah. Zobah is that station, or that position, or even that post that is something that has been established. That is by Hamath. And Hamath is that place. It's the fortress of walls. As he went to establish now his dominion there over the river of Euphrates. And that river are those waters that descend, even Euphrates, these waters of the Euphrates. These are the waters of fruitfulness. And David took from him 1,000 chariots and 7,000 horsemen. And these that David took from Hadar-Etzer would be these 1,000 chariots and these 7,000 horsemen. And these thousand means to fulfill this, even the fulfillment against these chariots. These chariots are machines of war, is basically what they are. These are judgments, even, that they represent these judgments of God, that these weapons of war, these instruments of war, these machines of war, where they stand with their holding the reins and thinking they can control the strengths, even these judgments. And 7,000, these 7,000, it's perfection, see, in its fulfillment upon these horsemen. These horsemen represents those that ride upon the horse, and the horse is that of strength, represents great strength, and these that sit upon it. And 20,000 footmen, and these would be those upon their feet, the paths that men would travel. Now there's going to be redemption in its fulfillment, even that to witness the law and the fulfillment of it. And David hewed all the chariots, but reserved of them 800 chariots. And these chariots, once again, these machines, war machines, even of judgment that God sends. But he reserved to them. He hewed them all into pieces, all of the 1,000 that he had taken, except for 100. And 100 means judgment. There's judgment in these chariots here, because, why? We'll find out that's what the chariot was for in the first place. 5. And when the Arameans of Damascus came to secure Hadar-Etzer, or to help Hadar-Etzer, king of Zobah, David smote of the Arameans 22,000 men. And when the Arameans are these exalted ones. Actually, they're the ones from the palace. They're the ones who come down from the palaces, and they come down to fight against David. See, because we'll find that God is sending a new king to the land. He's going to take over. He's going to fight against all these other kings, and he is going to subdue them. So we have this king, the Arameans come down, these exalted ones out of their palaces. Now, witness this redemption and the fulfillment of men, see, from these ones who come down from their palaces, even those that were before. 6. Then David put garrisons in Aram, Damascus, and the Arameans became servants to David, and the Arameans became servants to David, and brought presents, and the Lord gave victory to David whithersoever he went. And then David put these garrisons. These garrisons would be posts, even these garrisons, these stations that he would put armies in Aram, and these exalted places, these places of the Arameans, even Damascus. Damascus is that place where the sackcloth weaver is working quietly. And the Arameans became servants to David, and these ones that from this exalted positions, these Arameans, and they brought presents, and the Lord gave victory to David whithersoever he went. And we'll find out God has given victory to David over all the enemies in the land, these ones that God is punishing. We'll find out. He has been for a long time. 7. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadarezer and brought them to Jerusalem. And David took these shields of gold. Gold always is something to do with what belongs to God anyway. All the gold belongs to God. That's what God is seeking. He is the refiner of gold. And these shields, all these shields represent that which protects you in the battle. That is the covenant. That's your covenant. That were upon these servants of Hadarezer, upon these servants of those, even this splendorous support, this ornament. That's what Hadarezer stands for, or this, we'll find out. It's that upon the head that goes around. And he brought them to Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is that place of peaceful teachings. And from Tibcot, 8, and from Tibcot and from Kun, cities of Hadarezer, David took very much brass, wherewith Solomon made the brazen sea, and the pillars and the vessels of brass. And from Tibcot is that which slaughters. Tibcot is not a place of slaughter. It is actually that which does slaughter. It's the blade. It's the edge of it. And from Kun it's that which is firmly established. That which slaughters is firmly established. Even these cities of Hadarezer of that splendorous support. And we're going to find out these were the ornaments, or these shields that was taken. And he took as well from there this very much brass, wherewith Solomon made the brazen sea and the pillars and the vessels of brass. And he took from there as well all this brass. This brass it represents cold darkness. It looks like gold. It has the appearance of gold, but it's not gold. It's been mingled in, and it's passed through the fire. And this is what Solomon is this peace even. And Solomon's going to represent peace. This even of peace, this covenant that was made even of this brazen sea. We'll find out that locked all the cold darkness up into it. The sea represents that which God does make roar, and all the waters of it. This represents as well all the understandings of the earth. And the pillars, these pillars, that which supports, these would be the great supports that were made of brass, and the vessels of brass as well were made all of, and did contain all of, the cold darkness. 9. And when Tou, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the host of Hadarezer, the king of Sabah, and Tou, he was the king of Hamath, or this Melech of Hamath. And Tou is astray. It literally means astray. Whatever, something that's gone away, it's went out, got loose, and now it's astray. It's running around. He is the king of Hamath. And Hamath, once again, is that fortress of walls. Heard that David had smitten Hadarezer, that ornament, and took in those supports. He was the king of Zobah, and Zobah is that station. Remember, it's that post, it's that position that he set there. 10. He sent Hadoram, his son, to King David to salute him and bless him, because he had fought against Hadarezer and smitten him. For Hadarezer had wars with Tou, and he had with him all manner of vessels of gold and silver and brass. So when Tou hears that David is smitten Hadarezer, he gets his son, sends his son over to greet David, because he had fought against Hadarezer himself. And with him he sent all manners of vessels of gold and silver and brass, and we'll find out that David's going to dedicate these to the house of God. These vessels of gold and silver and brass, gold even, that which belongs to God. These things that do belong to God anyway already. And all this silver, all this that has to pass through the fire, this that is a symbolism of that which is passed through the fire. And this brass, even all this cold darkness. 11. These also did King David dedicate unto the Lord with silver and the gold, and he carried away from all the nations, from Edom, and from Moab, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek. And these also did King David dedicate unto the Lord. And these where they become a dedicated thing. And when King David, he did dedicate all these things unto the house of God, this silver, this gold, all this brass, and it becomes a dedicated thing. And at that point, you can't touch it. See, it belongs to God. And he carried all this silver, this gold, and all this brass away from all the nations. From Edom, Edom are those, means red. These are those that show the blood in the flesh. And from Moab, Moab, from her father, and the children of Ammon. Ammon is the tribes, all the nations. This is all the nations. And from the Philistines, and from Amalek. And these drifters, even from those place of the valley dwellers, even that crack they fall into. And this is just those that show the blood in the flesh from her father, those of the nations, these drifters, those ones that had already drifted away from God, and those of the valley dwellers, of these that live in the low places even of the earth. 12. Moreover, Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, smote of the Edomites in the valley of Salt 18,000. And Abishai is my father offers. These are my father's, or these offerings of my father, the son of Zeruiah, and he's going to be the brother of Joab. Zeruiah is this salve of God. It comes from the balsam tree, and when it's broke, it contains that which oozes out. Even that healing, it's like a healing medicine that comes out of it, and it was looked as that. And he smote of the Edomites, these that show the blood in the flesh, in the valley of Salt. In this low place, even that place of salt, and salt is the seasoning. It represents this seasoning of life that always remains. And 18,000, see, there's a new beginning in the law and the fulfillment of it. Because God is making a new beginning, even with David, and this fulfillment of the law, this new beginning of the law, because it's going to be mercy from God. 13. And he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomite became servants to David, and the Lord gave victory to David whithersoever he went. And God gave victory to David whithersoever he went, and he put garrisons in Edom. Once again, these posts, these positions, these outposts, we can call them, of Edom, those that show the blood in the flesh, and all those that showed the blood in the flesh became servants unto David. 14. And David reigned over all of Israel, and he executed justice and righteousness unto all the people, all his people. And David reigned over all Israel. Those are those that contend with the mighty one. And he executes justice and righteousness unto all his people. 15. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was over the host, and Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. And Joab, he's the son of Zeruiah, and Joab is God his father. He is the son of that healing medicine, or that balsam tree, that when you break it, that balsam of God, that healing of God, that salve that flows out of it. And he was over the host. And the host are all those armies, all the powers of the force of the host to battle. And Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was the recorder. And Jehoshaphat, he is these are the God's rules, God's laws, God's judgments even. He is the son of Ahilud, or my brother's children. This is my brother's children, and was the recorder. This recorder are those that are going to redo it. 16. And Zadok, the son of Ahitub, and Abimelech, the son of Abiathar, were priests and Shapshah was the scribe. And Zadok or the just, these are the just. He is the son of Ahitub, and that's my brother's goodness, Ahitub. Tuv is good, or Tov, good. And Abimelech, or my father's king, he's the son of Abiathar, or my father's remnant. These are my father remains that my father has left. This which my father has left over were the priests. And Shavshah, and these priests represent those that were over the understanding, so to speak. And Shavshah was the scribe. And Shavshah is these of nobility. These of nobility were the scribes, and those were the ones that was going to write it all down so it'll last, so it'll stay there that we can see it. See? That's so it'll stay that we can see it. Those of nobility. This is the salt. 17. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the Kerati and the Peleti, and the sons of David were chief about the king. And Benaiah was that which is established of God. He's the son of Jehoiada. And Jehoiada, God understands, God knows. And he was over the Kerati. And this that God has established, because God understands, and he was over the Kerati. The Kerati are these executioners, these that go forth to execute God's judgments in the earth. And the Peleti are the ones who are swift. These are the swift executioners, see, of God. These ones he's established. These and the sons of David. These sons of David. He was the chosen one. These were the chief about this king, and these were the rulers about the king. David was the king. And we'll find out. God has established once again the kings in the earth, and he is using David as great judgments against all the nations that were before, as well as establishing his judgment over Israel. We're going to move forward. Chapter 19, God says turn. So turn and return.